Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court and CPS issues. I'm your host, Marianne Petrie, and today I have a very special guest. Her name is Tanisha Bankston. She is the mother of 3 children. She is the survivor of rape, incest, domestic violence, and childhood sexual abuse. She is also the author of My Pain is My Power, that she just came out with. And she's also a speaker on this topic. She shares her story and she wrote her book to help others. And she states that she's praying that they too will break their silence and come out of their shell and hatch into the beautiful butterfly they were meant to be and share their stories as well. So, how are you, Tanisha?
I'm good. How are you, Marianne?
I'm doing good. So, tell me about this awesome book. How long did it take to write this?
It took some years. I say 14 years because I've been writing ever since I was 18. And it published when I was 32. So 14 years because I've just been writing bits and pieces for years. And one day God just said, it's time. And
Mhm.
so when he said it was time, I just started reaching out to publishers, asking them about my book. And well, I got on my laptop and I started typing everything. I had typed over 20,000 words.
Mhm.
They told me to send out my manuscript and that they will review my book, review the manuscript, and it was accepted and it was approved. And so then I knew that I could write a book.
Definitely. Well, that's great. It's such a hurtful topic. Did you find it difficult to write as it being even painful to write?
Yes, I cried. Tears were all on my papers every time I wrote because it was like people are always telling me to just get over it and move forward, but it's like I couldn't get over it and move forward. And so I knew it had to be something, but it was birthed into this book. It was a book. All of my it's of course it's sad what I went through, but yes, it was so hard to write. So hard.
I think it's hard when people say, just go on with your life, move on, you know? Don't you find that it's almost like a slap in the face?
Yes, it is because they don't know, especially the ones who had gone through what I've gone through or gone through anything close to what I've gone through. It's easy for them to say that, but it wasn't easy for me to do that.
Right. They weren't the ones suffering, you were. People
Exactly.
people find that, I don't know, things fly out of their mouths. I don't understand if they're not thinking before they're speaking, especially when you've been through so much trauma.
Right.
So how's it going with the book? You've been on a number of podcasts and it's rolling pretty good for you.
Yes, everything's going pretty good. My book has been selling good on Amazon and it's been selling on hand pretty good. I ordered a number amount of books and they sold so fast and it's just been helping people come out and share their story. They cry, I cry. It's just been help. Other people been saying, "Baby, you just talking through me. How do you build up the courage? You're so strong and brave to do that." And so that's what I was praying for. To write this book and to help others come out and share their story. So it's been going good.
Mm. Right. Your book gives them confidence to to show their story and explain things that had happened to them. So are people contacting you a lot and asking you for help on either how to write a book or deal with their emotions?
Yes, they've been inboxing me, and especially from my hometown where I live. I live in Grenada, Mississippi, and so many people have been inboxing me, reaching out to me, saying that you just don't know. You have helped me by sharing your story, and how can I write a book? What are the steps that I need to take? What do I need to do? I just told them my technique, what I did. I've been writing for 14 years, and And when I just felt confident and when God really spoke to me and gave me the message, I picked up my laptop. Like I tell them, if you have a laptop or a desktop, pick it up, start typing and just let it out because can't nobody tell your story like you can. Everybody's story is different.
Definitely. And I'm sure you tell them this is going to be painful to write. This isn't going to be pleasant.
Yes, right. I tell them that like it's not, but you can do it though.
Hmm.
No, you can do it.
I find that some people, ask you what's going on or what's happened. And then you get to the point where it's like, I'm tired of talking about it. It's time to write the book. Did you get to that point too?
Yes, yes, I actually did get to that point,
Hmm.
and so I just wrote the book, and here it is. Everything is in the book,
Hmm. Hmm. I'm
and
also, oh, go
uh,
ahead. I'm sorry.
since I've written my book, I've been getting backlash from
Mhm.
a family member saying that the book don't make sense or that the book it just don't make sense and that it should be named something else. So evidently it made sense to somebody, a publisher, because it's published.
Definitely. I think also, we had messaged each other before, but sometimes people get jealous. Family members may get jealous that you've accomplished this. This is a huge accomplishment,
Right? Yes.
and they don't understand. Sometimes they just don't understand writing techniques or your title that you picked, which is, I think, very powerful. I mean, it's perfect.
Thank you.
Hmm. How did you come across that title?
A church member. We were talking one day and I was telling her that I was looking to write a book and I was like having a hard time finding the title and everything. And she was like, "Oh, okay, how about my pain is my power?" And I was like, "That's fantastic." And so thanks to her, I actually told her, "Thank you for helping me choose this title
Mm-hmm.
and everything because my pain is now my power." All the things that I've endured. So yes, she helped me.
Well, that was good. How do your church members feel about your book?
They're supportive. The pastor and his wife, they actually ordered a copy of it and
Mm.
everything, and we're supposed to be getting together to have a book signing for me,
Good.
the church.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, a lot of people need to know this. These issues are going on. People have no idea what is going on in families and things such as this.
Right?
And with the backlash you're getting from your family, I mean, is it just one family member? Or is it a couple of them?
It's a couple of them.
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's hard.
yeah, it is, but it used to affect me, but now it don't bother me anymore because I just learned to just block it and just to do something else and to move on to something else because I know what happened to me
Hmm.
and everything. So that's all that matters. And I know I'm telling the truth and I'm not doing anything to try to get famous or get any money, but I just want to share my story, and help somebody else
Hmm.
and bring it to the surface and let it be known.
Right. It needs to be known. I'm really glad you wrote this. And there could be some other woman out there or teen out there that will pick it up and read it and learn from it. And, maybe they could stop this process as, like before it gets worse.
Right. That's what I'm praying and hoping. Yes. And because I talk about how you can say, I wasn't taught that if somebody do something to you as a young child, tell it or say something. But I talk about how, if somebody, you have the right to tell people no. I didn't know how to say no.
Mhm.
Up until now, I found it hard to say no. Up until recently. I mean, if I want to say no, I can say no, whether it hurts me or not. But I know I have to do that, because if not, then I'm only just telling myself.
Hmm. Hmm. How is this affecting relationships with the opposite sex?
It's, well, everything's been good because he's actually been helping me through this, on this journey that I'm on.
Hmm.
And so, there's times when I have meltdowns or things like that, and we just we cope through it and we work through it together. But he's actually helped me through everything,
Hmm.
and I thank God for him, because he's helped me through it. And because if it weren't for him helping me, I don't know, because I don't have any support really, and didn't have any support. But he has been there, even when my family wasn't there. He was
Hmm.
there.
How'd you meet him?
I actually met him through social media. We met through social media, and we've been together for 3 years.
Oh, that's awesome. That's how I met my husband, social media.
Okay, social media is something.
Yeah,
You can gain them through
definitely.
social media, and you can lose them through social media.
Yeah, right. And in fact, well, my spouse supported my book and everything. And I was glad to get that out. And that way, it's like you feel like you don't have to talk about it much anymore. Do you know what I mean? It,
Yes,
um, People will ask you things. Here's the book. Read it. You know, it's like I got to the point where I was just so exhausted trying to explain.
yes, yes. Like, constantly just trying to explain. Like I said, here's the book. You can read it. I mean, it's my life story. It's all in the book.
Hmm.
Everything is in there.
And it needs to be. So it's, some people don't understand why we as writers share our stories of our lives. But when you have people constantly coming up to you and saying, well, what happened? When did this happen? When did that happen? How come this evolved? It, it's just so much talking about it. You get so tired after a
Mhm.
while.
Yes, just drain you and
Hmm.
everything. But
Did you find writing the book was heavily exhausting as you went along writing it over the years?
no, I didn't find it, because when I just decided to write it, it's just like I didn't want to I didn't want to stop typing.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so it just amazed me that I did that. But I knew it wasn't nobody but God.
Hmm.
I knew it wasn't nobody but God, because I couldn't do that at first. I never just picked up, just got up and got on my laptop and started typing everything until this year, because my book was published May 21st of this year. And because before, I have like notebooks and notebooks from me writing, and just notebooks and just everything together. I would just pick up a piece of paper and just write. I was raped at the age of 5 or 6.
Hmm.
I'm a childhood sexual abuse survivor. I mean, that part I just started talking about that last year, because I was introduced to a group on Facebook, and to know that it was childhood sexual abuse, that I am a survivor of that. But
Hmm.
I always say I was raped at the age of 5 or 6.
Hmm.
That I'm a survivor of incest. I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and and a trauma survivor. Because trauma is a lot. That's a lot to have gone through as
Hmm.
a child, and not to be believed when you know that you are telling the truth.
Hmm.
Still, these men are walking freely. In my mind, I was locked up in prison for 27 years when they should have been in prison,
Hmm.
maybe for 27 years, however long that they would have been sentenced to. But I've learned to just pray about it, and to move. In order for me to move forward, I had to forgive them. I forgave myself and forgave myself for the people that I've done wrong and everything. And so, to move forward, because this was hindering me and everything. But I wasn't wrong. They were wrong. I shamed and I blamed myself for all these years. And it just did something to me that I wasn't believed. My brain actually, I felt my brain when it did a shift, and my brain hasn't shifted back over. And I was told maybe your brain isn't meant to shift back over before that happened to you as a child. Maybe, this is you. This is you. All you can do now is to move forward.
Mhm.
Be who you are today and move forward. So don't focus on that. And that's what I'm doing and everything, because clearly I'm meant to be this person, this advocate, this survivor, because I survived through all of that.
Mhm.
Survived. And I still just don't see how, because, in a domestic violence relationship for 9 years, raped, and family members having sex with me, just, there's just a lot to go through, and to just still be in my right mind.
Mhm.
My mom said it happened to her, but it messed with my mom's mind. My mom is bipolar and schizophrenic, and I just thank God that I have my sanity. And
Mhm.
she
Yeah.
has her sanity, but she has a mental illness.
Hmm.
But trauma causes mental illness. It causes a lot. It causes, because it's unresolved trauma.
Mhm. Mhm. The PTSD, depression, anxiety.
Yes,
Yeah, and it's just devastating.
yes, yes.
Oh, well, I'm sorry you went through all that, but I'm glad you wrote this book. What does your mother think about the book?
She wants a copy. She actually told me to send her a copy, and she said she's proud of me and everything.
Oh, good, good. And as far as like your neighbors, do your neighbors know that you're a book author?
Yes, they know. Everybody know, because when I'm out, me and my stepdaughters and my baby, they help me promote my book. They said we are selling books and everything. So yes, it's just mainly, most of some of my family members, they're upset and everything about me
Mhm.
writing my book, telling my story, but I don't understand, because some of them knew what happened to me, but as long as I was quiet and not speaking, everything was fine. Everything was fine. Like, me and my family, we were close. We weren't really close, but I've always felt like I was a black sheep. But I guess I wore that mask just to be, because I don't really have any friends, so I just wanted somebody to talk to and get out the house, so I would be around my family members,
Mhm.
of them. And but when I spoke out, it just opened a can of worms. I didn't know that I would be getting backlash from some of my family members. Some of my family members have been supportive and everything, and saying, you had, when you did tell it, and nobody believed you. But some of them are saying, hey, you said what you said, so you don't have to keep saying the same thing. But this is my story, so I'm gonna keep. This happened to me. Can't nobody tell me what to say or how to feel.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and you had said that they were even aware this was going on. Why didn't they do anything to protect you?
Right? Some of them knew, and of course, it was known when a DNA test was done of me, my daughter, and my daughter's dad when I was 15 years old, and he was in his 30s. So when it came back, the test came back positive. I felt like, something should have been done then, because I
Mhm.
was just a child. I
Mhm.
mean, I didn't ask him to have sex with me.
Mm.
He had sex with me. So, I mean, every chance I get to share my story, I'm going to share my story, and I'm going to tell it, because there was a time when I couldn't tell it. Now that I
Mhm.
can tell it, it took all these years. It took 27 years. People say, "Why are you just now coming out saying something?" Because I want to, and I didn't have the courage then, and now I have the courage now to tell it. And when I did tell it, I wasn't believed.
Mhm.
That's part of the reason why.
I wonder, have you looked into your statutes of limitation as far as this happening and you've got the DNA proof? Is this something you could legally pursue?
I looked at it and it said something about 16 years old, but I was 13 when we got me pregnant, and I was 14 when I had my baby, and I was 15 when the DNA test was done, so I was still under the age.
Mm.
So I don't know if anything can be done now.
I think it can. I mean, you'd have to check with your state and talk to someone. And because when I was a nurse, they always said that a child, like if there was a mistake made with a child at a hospital, they have the right to sue at any time. Like they could be your age and sue the hospital because it happened when they were a child. So I know that could be something you can look into if you choose to,
Yeah. Okay.
you know,
Thank you for that.
because I just, bringing things to justice. This book you've brought all this to justice.
Right.
The people that have done you wrong need to be brought to justice so they don't do it to someone else, or maybe they are still doing this to other people.
Right. I totally agree. And I do say justice for Tanisha.
Mhm.
Justice for me because justice was not served. Like I feel like all five of those men who did what they did to me should have been punished and locked up
Mhm.
because I was locked up in my mind for 27 years. That wasn't
Mhm.
fair to me. I missed out on 27 years of my life.
Mhm. That you could have been enjoying as, a young kid, a young teen, um, doing all the fun things that you should have been freely able to do. And
That's
they
fair.
interfered with that, and they completely interfered and destroyed your life.
Exactly. Yes, they did. And that's not fair to me. That
No.
was not fair. It wasn't. While they were still out here living life and going on with their life and everything, and I wasn't. So I just, because I isolated myself from the world, I just shut down. I was in this shell. I had low self esteem. I was always labeled as being shy. But when the first man did what he did to me, it sent me into a shell and that I didn't come out of because I was a happy child before I
Mhm.
was raped. So I was playing and happy, even though I was young, I was still happy playing with my friends and my cousins. And then as I got older, I still was just, the abuse just kept happening, as I got older. So I was already in a shell. And I am just now coming out of my shell, starting last year.
Hmm. Well, after all this time has passed and now you're bringing it forward, and you're lucky that you've got, you know, stepdaughters and your child to help you promote your book. You've got free advertising, which is awesome. I'm proud of them for doing that with you. That's great. Do
Thank you.
they
Me too.
do they ever ask you, why you wrote the book? I don't know how old they are, but I mean, do they talk to you about it?
Yes, they're little. My baby girl just turned 4, and the girls are 6. One of them is 6, and the other one is 8. And yeah, because one of the oldest girls, she was actually reading my book, and she read where it said, "Why did your mom?" And she read the part that it said about us eating flour because we didn't have any food. And she said, Why did your mom make you eat flour?" And I was just telling her, baby, my mom couldn't take care of us, and my mom, she neglected us, and we just didn't have food
Mhm.
and everything. Like, all, but they've been helping me with my book
Mhm.
and everything. So
Have you gotten it into like a library at all?
no, not
Mhm.
yet. I
Well,
said
maybe you haven't approached a library yet, but I would get it into a library too,
I
because it's just It's so it is so powerful. And, granted it took you, 14 years to write, but that doesn't matter. You had to document as you went along
Right.
and then put it together. And then you've got to figure out your book cover. How did you do your book cover?
The publisher, she actually picked that book cover. I just like the picture of me with the clothes on and everything, and I guess she just made it go along with it. And I love that book cover.
I do
And
too.
to me, I love it. To me, it reminds me of what is that? It's the medical field symbol.
Oh,
Where the
um,
it's like the heart rate things. I can't think
right.
what it's called.
The heart monitor, the heart monitor.
Yes, and that also symbolizes something too because I've always been in the medical field. I was actually in the EMT program, and I've always been in the medical field. So I just felt like that was another message from God right there with that symbol on there.
Hmm.
And I never thought about that until just now. But I like that.
Well,
And it just
sure.
goes,
I think it's perfect. I just love the book cover. It's really sharp, and I love the turquoise or aqua top that you're wearing. It's really eye-catching. It's beautiful.
thank you. Thank you.
And I think it's good that you have I call it a heart monitor, heartbeat on there because when you were going through this, I'm sure your heart was racing and you were stressed out, and what everything that you went through must have just completely traumatized you. I'm sure you have PTSD.
Yes. And
And
loud noises triggers my PTSD.
mhm,
Like I jump and
mhm,
it send me I have flashbacks and it sends me back when loud noises occur.
mhm. Oh, I
And the little
understand.
yes, it just does something to me like loud noises. I mean, I don't try to like let it affect me, but it does. It's just like it's something that's there. When something drops, I jump or
Mhm,
just loud noises. And I don't know if you see the little girl that's in the shadow of my book. That was me when the abuse started happening. I was either 5 or 6. I say 5, but I was one of the ages because I think I was 6 when I was taken from my mom and adopted by my aunt. I actually tried to go back to the hospital or the social services to ask for my records, but they said after 10 years the records are purged or that they destroyed them and that they're no longer there. So, but now that I'm older and stable, I wanted to go back and get my records and see what's what. But I know what happened to me without the records. I just wanted to see everything because I feel too I was failed by social services.
mhm.
You know, social services, DHS, the police system, just the school system, and just all of that because no, the evidence and proof was there, but nobody ever done anything. Even the hospital didn't ask any questions. They never called a social worker in there with this 14-year-old child that just delivered a baby. Social services never came to my aunt's house. Only just when they took us from my mom, CPS, but I don't remember social services coming over there. I just remember a nurse coming over there to show me how to wipe my baby's navel, like around the umbilical, like the
Yep.
from the cord being taken off of there, and how to sterilize it with the alcohol and Vaseline. But other than that, a social worker wasn't there, and I wasn't never given counseling or therapy after I was raped. Instead, told them I was raped the first time, and I just feel like I was failed so poorly.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
was
they failed you so miserably. I just don't know how a hospital can drop the ball when a 14-year-old comes in delivering a baby. And they didn't ask you anything.
They didn't ask me anything. They didn't. I just went. The doctor just said that I almost died from having my baby because he said that my bones and my body wasn't ready. I wasn't developed to be pushing out a baby. I was just
Mm.
a baby myself. I
Mhm.
was just a kid myself, pushing out this 6 pound, 7 ounce baby. I didn't know how to push. I didn't know what this doctor was talking about. I shouldn't have had to have known. I should have been that child playing with my Barbie dolls and just having fun, enjoying my childhood. My childhood was taken away, it was stolen and robbed away from me. So for people to get mad at me for speaking out and sharing my story, oh well, oh well, I don't care how they feel because no one cared how I felt when this
Mm.
happened to me, when they
Right.
knew that it happened to me. Family members
Mhm.
and other people, friends of the family that know, friends of the God, friends that know. Nobody, because people could have said something, people could have done something.
Mhm.
Nobody done or said anything. And here I am, 32, 33 years old. I just turned 33 June 3rd.
Mhm.
And share my story. And I'm going to continue to share my story. And I thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak and share my story.
Well, most definitely, because maybe in a couple months, also like to have you back on, for an update if you like.
Yes.
I usually have guests back on so they can update their progress and things like that. And
Right.
I really hope the backlash stops. I'm sure it'll stop and die down as time goes on. But
Maybe, maybe not. If not, then I don't know. I can't worry about it, and I can't worry about them, and because they were fine with talking to me before I started speaking out, but now that I'm speaking out, I'm getting backlash. When they knew, so that's their problem. That's something
yeah.
that they're gonna have to deal with. Because I used to couldn't even talk. I talk to people without crying, or my teenage kids crying, me crying to them saying, when is this gonna ever end? And now here I am talking to you today. I'm not crying. And I thank God that I am an overcomer, that I've overcame a lot of this thing, a lot of the stuff that I've gone through. And I just thank God.
Mhm.
And does it hurt? Yes, it does hurt because I hate that I had to go through all of that. But I also thank God for allowing me to go through all of that and to come out on the other side and to still stand and to share and tell my story and my testimony.
Mhm.
Because, like you said, somebody is right now going through this.
Mhm. And it seems like, and I said this to other guests, that advocacy chooses you. And you're not even thinking about it until, when something bad happens to you, and then you have to advocate for yourself.
Right? That is true. Yes, that is so true.
Mhm. And it's also teaching your kids to stand up for themselves.
Right? Yes, because they've been through this rodeo with me. Like we grew up together. They were more like my sisters and brothers, even though that I'm their mom, because I was just a teenage myself. I was a
Mhm.
teenage, 14 and 17 with two kids, so we grew up together. But at the end of the day, I'm still their mother.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
they've seen the walk and the journey and the struggles and everything. They've cried with me,
Mm.
and it's all just, I just thank God.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry that I'm spiritual and I had to find God. So that's why I can say that now because at first I was a lost soul, but I
Mhm.
found God and I found myself. And I refuse to go through any of this or allow anybody to mistreat me ever again
Oh,
when I'm
exactly.
around.
I mean, don't apologize for being spiritual, because, a lot of people need to find God and get their lives straightened out, and then go from there. Don't apologize. I always tell people, don't say you're sorry unless you crack up my car. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because don't apologize for anything that is, what am I trying to say? You know, you did the right thing. So don't apologize.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So is I know like your mother lives out of the state probably. She lives away from you.
She's actually in a rehab in Meridian, Mississippi,
Mhm.
getting help because she's not stable, so she doesn't have a place to stay in there. And she went there to check herself in to get help. And
Mhm.
I'm working on looking for her a place to stay and
Mhm.
everything. And so she's there. So that's something that be on my mind when she called because I hate to see my mom going through what she's going through. As I say too that some of it isn't her fault because she too was raped and sexually assaulted and nothing was ever done. And I don't know if she didn't tell anybody for something to be done, but she told me and she shared a lot with me and everything. And so, but she's bipolar and schizophrenic, but she also has a lot of unresolved trauma under that for
Mhm.
being bipolar and schizophrenic.
Mhm.
So, no telling what she went through. And people say this is a cycle that is going on, and the chain has to be broken somewhere. And I'm breaking the chain. I'm
Mhm.
breaking the cycle and everything because Lord knows if my children tell me that somebody's done something to them, I'm gonna do something, push the issue because they need to pay for what they do. I
Mhm.
mean, at the end of the day, even if a child willingly give it up to a grown man, that adult is still old enough and wise enough to know, no, say this, no, this is just a child
Mhm.
and everything. But I was manipulated and taken advantage of by
Mhm.
these grown men.
And that's sick. They are sick.
Yes, they are sick. They are sick. They need help. There is no telling who else they've done it to or doing it to. And yes, I'm saying it and I'm speaking it.
Mhm.
It's the truth. It happened to me, so I don't know if you're doing it to somebody else, but something needs to be done about it. Something.
Mhm. Well, I appreciate you coming on. How can people reach you if they have any questions and want to talk to you?
They can reach me through Facebook. I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/Tanisha T Bankston 1, or you can just type in my name, Tanisha Bankston, author, and or they can call me or text me. My number is 662-699-0785. I'm on our blog, beingtanisha.wordpress.com. I'm on Instagram
Mhm.
under Tanisha Bankston, LinkedIn under Tanisha Bankston, and they can just reach out to me that way because that's what I want to do, help others share and break their silence and tell their story.
Okay, I'm so sorry. On Instagram, what is your handle?
My handle is Tanisha Bankston.
Okay. Okay. I guess I'm gonna put that in the notes too.
Okay. And Twitter, I'm under Tanisha Bankston.
Okay. That's good to I will put all that in the notes. And so I'd like to hear back from you in a couple months and see how you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be glad. And I'm on Clubhouse. I am about to start speaking and starting going on there and just share my story and different things and just talking about, other things and helping, advocating and everything and to help others.
Mhm. Mhm. Good. You're doing warrior work that needs to be done,
Thank
and you're strong enough to do it. And and I know it says somewhere in the Bible about a millstone. If you do something to a child, you should have a millstone tied around your neck and thrown into the sea. I can't remember the correct Bible verse. I'm so sorry, but You know, that's what's going to happen to these people that have done this to you.
And it needs to happen to them because they were wrong for what they did to me. They were
Mm,
wrong.
definitely.
So, jumping on me for 9 years, my son, dad, and from the age of 14 to 23, he didn't have no business manipulating me to have sex and doing all those things to me, spitting in my face. You don't spit in nobody's face. He
Mm,
just did so many horrible things to me. And those men just did so many horrible things to my body and everything, having
mm,
sex with me on my cycle, rupturing my anus. I mean, I just I just have to pick up the pieces
mm,
and look ahead and move forward
mm.
so I don't stay stuck.
Right. Well, it's good you're doing book signings and you're staying busy. You know, it's good to stay busy to a point, and you've got your kids that love you and someone nice in your life. Is there anything else you'd like to add to say to anyone that may be going through this?
I would say I like to tell them to speak your truth and reach out to somebody who you can trust, and they let them know that there are so many different supportive groups on Facebook and everything, and journal. Start writing everything down. That's what helped me.
Mhm,
Start journaling and finding you something to do. If it's walking outside, just get some fresh air and work on changing your mindset. I'm saying all this because that's what I had to do.
mhm,
Everything. And the main thing is just write, just journal,
mhm,
and just let it all out if you don't have anybody to talk to.
mhm.
But I'm here and you can talk to me.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I'm so glad to have you on.
Thank you.
Slam the Gavel is a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in the family courtrooms that in turn perpetuate parental alienation. I'm your host, Marianne Petrie, author of Dismantling Family Court Corruption, Why Taking the Kids Was Not Enough, and Cry Out for Justice, Poems of Truth. Please join us again with Tanisha and other guests I've got coming on. Thank you again, Tanisha.
Thank you.